The New York Yankees are projected for 91.5 wins, the second highest total in the AL East. They finished 92-70 last year. Here's what they're going to go under this year. On first glance, there's still a lot of names to get you excited. Garrett Cole, for example, is still one of the game's best, but he did trend downwards towards the end of last year just a little bit. He has 17 quality starts in 30 outings, which is absolutely phenomenal for most guys, but a bit fewer than what we expect from Cole. He had a 4.14 ERA after the All-Star break. So there are a few signs of decline, but he's not the issue. The issue is the other four guys in that rotation. Jordan Montgomery, Nestor Cortez, Jameson Taillon, all decent pitchers in their own right. But as a staff, they don't get you excited, they don't throw that hard. I'm not sure they can get me a strike when I need one. I'm just uninspired by it. The wild card, Luis Severino, if he can be on his best, that's an absolute weapon for the Yanks. But he's only thrown 18 innings since 2018, so I don't have that expectation. Oh, and the closer, he walked 6 batters per 9 innings last year, posting his highest ERA in 10 seasons. So there's definitely some doubt creeping in with the Aroldis Chapman as well. And just an example of how just because he's a big name doesn't mean he's going to have a great season. You can say that with quite a few players on the Yanks. Offensively, I don't mind the Gary Sanchez trade, but it leaves the Yankees so abysmally weak at the catcher position. On opening day, this lineup is going to be potent, don't get me wrong, but this is an old-ass team. Injuries are going to happen this year. I'm going to bet on that. This happened to these guys in many years past. It's going to happen again. The newly acquired infielder, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, he's the only one on this roster with a respectable defensive rating last year. Most of these guys were in the negative. Those who were in the positive, it was just very slight. So I think the team is really going to struggle in the defensive department as well. Essentially, I think this lineup as a whole is more than good enough to compete offensively. But I have major injury concerns, and their rotation is just not inspiring. It's just some brutally tough lineups in the AL East they're going to have to face, and I think they're going under. The Boston Red Sox, they're projected for 85.5 wins this season. That's the second lowest total in the AL East. They finished 92-70 last year. I think they're going to go over again this year. The Red Sox finishing with 90 wins last year was the biggest surprise as anyone in the league to me. I think that's fair to say considering they went 24-36 in the COVID-shortened season, and their roster didn't change that much going into last season. And it must be the Alex Cora effect because he came back and then offensively they started lining it up. 3rd in average, 3rd in OPS, 5th in runs. Now they've added Trevor Story to the mix, and I'm not as concerned about his home road splits as some people. Even if he doesn't live up to that contract, he'll still be a plus in this lineup. JD Martinez is another year older, probably going to continue to lose some pop, but he's still a veteran hitter who knows how to get on base and drive in runs. From a pitching perspective, they don't look that great on paper. They lose Erod, but he had a 4.74 ERA last year anyway. And I think Chris Sale will have a lot to do with his over-under hitting. He turns 33 very soon and just can't seem to catch a break injury-wise. It finally looked like he was going to get the ball opening day for the first time since 2019, but then he's been silent with a rib injury now. But if he can make it to about 20 starts this year, I think that will be enough from Sale to guarantee this overhitting. It's a big ask, but I think even if he doesn't manage it, they got a good offense, they got a capable bullpen. I like their over. I don't see why the drop-off will be that great from last year. The Toronto Blue Jays, they're projected for 92.5 wins, the highest total in the AL East. They finished 91-71 last year, and here's why they're going to smash their over in 2022. The Jays have 4 of the top 10 starters in the AL East, and I don't think it's really even close. I think I'm pretty generous when I say 10. I mean, it's pretty rare a team can lose a Cy Young winner, and I can still say that. Out goes Robbie Ray, but I don't think they're going to miss much of a beat bringing in Kevin Gausman, and I think the addition of Yusei Kikuchi as an SP5 is just phenomenal. It's exactly the kind of pitcher the Jays need to back up Ryu, Manoah, Barrios, and Gausman. Offensively, Springer has to play more than 78 games. For the games he played, he looked amazing. 1 through 4, Springer, Bichette, Vladdy. It sucked that you had to lose Simeon. But between Chapman, who you just brought in, as well as Gurriel Jr., as well as Grichuk, and even on occasion Kevin Biggio, I think his missed offense can be made up for because these guys are really streaky. They're gonna have stretches where they look great offensively. And Matt Chapman, his defense alone is worth a few wins. He's gonna really shore up that hot corner, really help Bo at shortstop as well. There really is a great mix of youth and experience on this team, and these young guys are ready to take the next step. The Jays are favored to win the AL pennant right now, not including the COVID season. The last 6 AL pennant winners all have gone over this number. I think this lineup is gonna absolutely feast on the pitching in the AL East this year. My only worry is that expectation may be a bit too great. Maybe they're gonna pressure themselves. Maybe they're gonna start chasing pitches, but I think they're gonna handle the pressure well. A lot of good guys in that locker room. I like the Jays to smash the over here. The Tampa Bay Rays are projected for 91.5 wins. They finished 162 last year. I think they're going to go over again this year. I mean, why wouldn't they? The more things change, the more they stay the same in Tampa. They're the New England Patriots of baseball. They're balling on a budget and they're crushing it. From a pitching perspective, I love their young starter Shane McClanahan, and their bullpen should be as nasty as ever backing him up. Shane Baz's injury, that really sucks. Tyler Glasnow, we knew he wasn't going to play this year. But yet the Rays managed to figure it out. They manufacture innings. Offensively, I don't see why there'd be any drop-off from last year. You get a full year of Wander Franco, plenty of Vidal Brujan around as well. They're the only team in the AL East not projected to have someone new in their batting order opening day. And I think that's a really good thing. They're confident in their squad, and so am I. They have a 61% winning percentage over the last 3 seasons. And I don't see a drop-off. I think they're as good as ever. The Baltimore Orioles projected for just 61.5 wins. It's the lowest total in the AL East and by far the lowest total in the league. They finished 52 and 110 last year, and sad to say they're going to go under again this year. I don't know how they're going to be 10 games better, do you? The division got better. I don't really think that they did. 5 of the last 7 teams projected to have the lowest total in the league all went over, and by a good margin, about 6 or 7 wins. So I really should just play the math here, but I just can't see it. I mean, where are the wins coming from? I think they independently have the worst offensive line, have the worst rotation, the worst bullpen in their division by far. To hit 61.5 wins, they need a win every 2.6 games. And I don't see that. I think they're going to get swept a lot. I mean, I'm trying to find the argument. Maybe if Mullins replicates his 2021 season, and you couple that with Mountcastle taking a massive leap and Mancini having a career year, you could maybe get there, but I doubt it. I mean, look at their rotation. I know they're young, but Bruce Zimmerman had the lowest ERA of any starter last year, not named John Means. And his ERA was 5.04. It's kind of a joke. I just think this is going to be a massive under.